Well, hi there, everyone, and welcome to the VIP Trade Room with Roger Scott and Matt Horton. Excuse me. Now, today is Friday, November 14th, and my name is Raleigh White, and I'm coming to you live from a beautiful day here in Austin, Texas, and I'm going to be your moderator today. Now, in today's session, Roger's going to be covering a range of important topics with a continued focus on how Roger uses the ProTrader dashboard every day to day trade and swing trade the markets. And his focus today is going to be on how to use the ProTrader dashboard for options. He's going to talk about when and how to consider pullback entries. He's going to be talking once again about the importance of relative volume, when it's important, and maybe when you can disregard it. He's going to talk about when to exit at the first profit target level and when to consider leaving a runner on for the second profit target. He's going to give us some tips on using the ProTrader dashboard for swing trades. And as a special bonus, he's going to use the ProTrader dashboard to find live trades for us in today's session. Now, if you've got any questions during Roger's presentation, please type them in the chat window and we'll address them periodically throughout the session so as to not interfere with Roger's presentation. And remember, folks, that the chat is open to everyone, and we do have some ground rules. Always be kind and supportive in your posts. Keep to the topic, no political discussions allowed whatsoever. And also, please keep your side conversations to a bare minimum so that the rest of us can focus on the education and information that Roger's going to be sharing. Because after all, folks, he is taking time out of his very busy day to give us an edge in the markets and to help us all become much more confident and consistent in our trading activities. Now, for those of you that joined us this morning bright and early at 8 a.m. Eastern Time for Roger's pre-market briefing, you'll note that there were several key catalysts that we needed to be aware of today. First of all, in chips, applied materials, they came in down 5% coming into the open. And the Magnificent Seven, Tesla was down 3%, and NVIDIA was down 2%. On the consumer front, Warner Brothers was up 3%, largely on the speculations about the fact that there are several companies, including Paramount and Netflix and Comcast, that are going to be bidding for acquisitions, and those bids are due next week. In Europe, we did note that the Euro stocks was down 1%. On the crypto front, Bitcoin was really selling off aggressively below $100,000, and that was having a carryover impact on crypto-related stocks. And then lastly, on the Fed front, no real news was going to be coming out, but we did have three FOMC speakers on tap sharing their thoughts and observations about what might happen with rates, the economy, and things of that nature. Now, with regard to the small cap watch list, hey guys, for the first time since we've been tracking these on the 4th of August of this year, we had no small caps today, okay? And how can that be, okay? You could ask that question. Well, when Roger selects these small caps, he's not only looking for price action, but he's looking for extreme volume in overnight activity. And we didn't see any today. He brought up a long list of small caps, but once again, the volume wasn't there. That extreme volume wasn't there. Also, just as a reminder, folks, you have to remember that small caps are their own animal. They're kind of immune to the things that we pay attention to, like catalysts, for example, that have a big impact on large stocks. And that's because institutions are not putting money into small caps. It's individual investors like ourselves, okay? And also, if you ever take a look at wanting to place one of these trades or take advantage of one of these opportunities, only trade small caps during normal market hours. And if you don't have a fill by 2 p.m. Eastern time, then don't even worry about that trade. It's not worth the risk, and never, ever, ever hold these trades overnight if you get into them. Now, that being said, I do want to share something with you because some people have been asking us, well, how have these small caps been doing? So this is, I hope you can see this. This is a spreadsheet that I've been maintaining since we were tracking small caps on the 4th of August. And let me bring you down to the total. So since the 4th of August, Roger has given us all the way through yesterday 284 small caps. Of the 284, 46 of them have actually hit. That means they came into that level and broke through that level, which is 16.2%. Now, of the 46 that hit, 33 of them generated a win. Okay. And a win for us is if we basically hit that entry price and we moved up at least 10%. So that tells us about 72% of the hits that we get, actually end up being winning trades. So we do track all of this information, and I thought you might find this interesting, especially when it comes to setting expectations. Well, let's take a look at this on the 12th. Roger gave us 8 small caps. I don't know what your expectation was, but realizing that only about 16% of them hit, you know, we were expecting maybe one, maybe two here, but we saw none. But this is the nature of the beast, and I thought I would share those stats with you. So let's go back to the regular presentation. Now, with regard to large caps, Roger did have some large caps that he did want to share with us today. On the short side, he gave us 10 tickers to consider, and you can see them all listed here. And for those of you that were with us, you know that Roger brought up each one of these tickers and gave you his thoughts as to where they stood and what they might need to do for him to consider actually taking those trades. The same on the long front, we had 7 trades that were there, and obviously this kind of speaks to the fact that the market essentially was selling off coming into the open. More shorts were predominant over longs. The key thing is this: with regard to these shorts and the longs that we're talking about, these are actual tickers that are on Roger's watch list. And if, for example, they give him the setup that he's looking for, reach the appropriate levels that he's looking at, etc., more than likely they will become trades that he issues in the trading pit or in other of his premium services. Now, as far as Roger's closing pre-market comments are concerned, we did note coming to the morning that the markets were selling off hard, mostly in technology. When we opened at 8 o'clock this morning and we took a look at the futures markets, the E-mini S&P, the E-mini Dow, NASDAQ, everything was just really dropping like a rock. And when talking about it, he said, really, the drivers here are there is a real concern about rate cuts in December. It wasn't but like a month or 6 weeks ago that the potential was priced into the market that a 90% plus, I think it was 98%, that there would be a 0.25% rate cut. If you look at it today, it's less than 50%, and that's roiling the markets a bit. The other thing was on missed expectations. Now, it's been reported that valuations are the issues or concerned over valuations, and Roger really bristles when he hears that. The bigger issue is this. If we look at Applied Material last night, okay, they posted some really good earnings, like many of the companies had. But to the analysts, they weren't what they expected them to be. They expected something better. Okay. And Applied Materials was down 5% coming into the open. So missed expectations and rate cuts are Roger's feeling as to what's driving that sell-off that we saw in overnight. He also noted that there's a big sector rotation that's just completed, which is strongly favoring defensive stocks. Okay, so the speculative stocks are at the bottom of the list and defensive stocks are at the top of the list. And you'll also remember Roger saying that it used to be that sector rotations occurred like once a quarter. Well, they're happening once every other day these days. So for today, when we looked at the sectors, defensive stocks were at the top. We also noted that bonds were up. Okay, and normally when we see the bonds going up, that's a good thing because it's going to pull stocks with it. But in this particular case, they were up for the wrong reason, primarily a flight to safety. So at the end of the day, Roger says, look, I feel that the markets are overextended in the short term to the downside. And he said, quite honestly, I think there's too much fear in the market, but there's not enough real data to back it up. So volatility, downside pressure, emotional response, concerned over missed expectation, who knows? These are the things coming into the open. So the warnings are clear. Be careful, folks. Stick to your guns. Be aware that there's a lot of volatility and movement, and we're living in a news-driven environment. So, once again, folks, want to thank you so much for coming today. We really have an excellent agenda on tap. This is a continuing session on how Roger uses the Pro Trader dashboard every day to day trade and swing trade the markets. We had a wonderful introductory session on that yesterday. Could not cover all the topics we wanted to, and that's why we're part two today. And in part two, Roger's going to share how he uses the Pro Trader dashboard for options. A lot of people asking that question about how do I trade options when I see entry signals on the Pro Trader dashboard. Secondly, he's going to share when and how to consider pullback entries using the Pro Trader dashboard. He's going to be talking about the importance of relative volume and when to pay attention to it and when it may not be as important. Because once again, that's what am I thinking? That's a filter that he looks at. And there are times when you pay strict attention and other times, well, maybe it's not as important, but he wants to talk about that. He also wants to talk about when it makes sense to exit at the first profit level and when you might want to consider leaving a runner on as it moves into the second profit level. A lot of questions around that. He's also going to be giving some tips on how to use the Pro Trader dashboard for swing trades, potentially specifically later in the trading day. And as a bonus, folks, once again, Roger's going to use the Pro Trader dashboard to find some live trades for us during this session. Now, if you've got any questions during Roger's presentation, please type them in the chat window and we'll address them periodically throughout the session so as to not interfere with Roger's presentation. Secondly, folks, and remember now that the chat is open to everyone and we do have some ground rules. Please be kind and supportive in your posts. Number two, always keep to topic. Number three, no political discussions allowed whatsoever. Number four, please keep your side conversations to a minimum so that the rest of us can focus on the education and the information that Roger's sharing, because he's taking time out of his day, folks, to give us an edge in trading the markets and to help us all become much more confident and consistent in our trading activities. And with that, let's say hi to the team. Matt, Roger, man, it's good to see you, buddy. Roger, what a day, what a morning. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm always with you during the pre-market briefing because I love it. It helps set the stage for me. And then, as you know, I watch the futures markets. Well, my God, the E-mini S&P and gold today were whipping around. I mean, just crazy, going high, dropping lower. It was a roller coaster ride.
It was a roller coaster ride. You're absolutely right. And what's interesting is, and folks may notice something. The bond market, we're still heading lower, folks.
Yeah.
We're still heading lower on the bond market. And even though market internals are moving higher, this is not painting a pretty picture right now. And this is telling us that the odds of interest rates going lower in December are going lower. The odds of interest rates going lower in December are going lower. It's like a double
Right.
negative there, but you know, that's what it is. So we have to be very, very, very cautious. One thing I did mention this morning is that we're at the 50-day moving average, and I wanted to see if this was going to hold. And I also mentioned, and please correct me if there's something that I didn't say, Raleigh. I'm pretty sure I did say this. And that the 50-day is used as a very good support level right here, and it is
Right.
holding support. Now the only thing we need to see is the mega caps. See how they're clinging onto the 50-day moving average.
They are.
They're
Skin of their
clinging.
teeth.
Yeah, clinging onto the 50-day moving average. I'm hoping that if they're, I'll tell you this right now, and folks, please listen to me. What we want to see right now, is we want to see this move up really quick. We want this to be like a capitulation candle, okay? We want this to move up really fast. The slower price takes up to move higher here, especially on the mega caps. And let's see how the QQQ looks. This looks a little, let me just erase this. It looks a little better. But notice it came to the oversold level. Something I
Oh, yeah,
told you
it
that
did.
would, remember
Yeah.
that? Remember that, folks? When we were right here, I told you we go up and then we come right back down. Well, there we are. So I want to see the mags. Similarly, the mags, remember, way overdone, way over crispy here.
Hmm.
I want to see the mags. I want to see the mags um, bounce back from this level pretty fast. And I'll tell you why. Because we're right at the 50-day moving average. Okay. If this takes a long time to come, what will happen is if this takes a long time to stay here and just kind of fumbles around here, it's not going to be good. I want to see a big, strong bounce as fast as possible here. And let me just look at RSP. RSP is doing really good, but again, we want to see it above the 50-day moving average.
Right.
This is I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you guys something. This is really representing. This chart. This chart right here is representing what the market really looks like right now.
Hmm.
This is the best representation. Remember, this does not eliminate all the large cap stocks. It just equalizes them to equal value, so
Right.
that every stock in the S&P can be given equal value. Okay, and this is really what the market's looking like right now. Is it looking and a lot, Roger? Why has it been so difficult to swing trade last couple of weeks or months? Because we've been doing this.
Yeah.
We've been doing this. This is what most stocks have been doing. And I'm not making excuses. We've been doing just fine. That's not the problem. And this doesn't really apply to day trading. This applies to swing trading. But you could see how, like, right here during this period, very effortless right here. But this right here becomes, hey Ken, good to see you. This is what the market's looking like right now. I mean,
Yep.
wait a minute. This is not what the market's looking like. This is the market. This is an equal weighted SPY.
Okay.
This is the market. It's not like I'm telling you that, hey, it looks sort of like this. This is it. This is what it is. And we're right at the 100-day. But I don't see it really moving away from here. Like, for example, this low was just as low as a little higher than this, and this one's so far higher. So I'm not really seeing anything crazy. But at the same time, I'm not really seeing a runaway market here. It doesn't look like we're running away with the circus here.
No, it
So
doesn't.
what we
Yep.
no, no. So what we really need to see is we need to see these mega caps. We need to see these mega caps like roar. Okay, we need to see them roar, like aggressive buying. Real aggressive buying. That's what we need to see right now, so that we know that the bulls really mean business. Because if we don't see that, it's going to be a problem. And I don't mean like the second, but I mean generally speaking, we need to see real strength, because this right here is telling us that rates are not going to go down in December.
Right.
And I know one other person who had really strong doubt about that. Yeah, Clyde. All right. All three Fed speakers today are generally against cutting interest rates. Two are speaking this afternoon. Well, also you got to, Darren. It's also here's my concern, and I'm trying to be as practical as possible, and I'm trying to hit the most common denominator. There's doubts right now, right? Think about it. There's doubts, a lot of unemployment, inflation. We don't have federal data out yet. So how can they possibly say something, or how can they respond? It's like me opening and operating on your mouth. Let's say I'm a dentist, you come to me and you're like, "Hey, I have a toothache." Well, where does it hurt? Well, my whole mouth hurt. When you have I don't know about you guys, but when one tooth hurts, the whole mouth hurts. So I'm like, I don't know where it hurts. It just hurts everywhere. Don't worry
That's
about it.
true.
I got you. I'm going to operate. You can't do that. I mean, or like going to a doctor and saying, my arm hurts. Don't worry about it. It's broke. Oh, how the hell do you know it's broken? You haven't done any x-rays, right? So how do we know? How do we know? How in the world? How in the world? Hold on a second. I just got to take a quick little profit here. One second. Ah, all right. Second. Okay, sorry about that. We were in the pit. We were in a Apple trade. I wanted to take profit on it. It was an overnight trade. We
Yeah.
got into it late last night, so I just wanted to get out of it and take a little profit on the table. Okay. All right. All right. There we go. A little money doesn't hurt today. Dentistry is easier. Oh, much easier than trade. Are you kidding me? Trading is the hardest. I always say this. Trading is the hardest easy money you will ever make. You really have to love trading. There's two in trading, you've got two levels of interest, okay? You've got the people coming in, like 90% coming in because they think it's easy, because they think there's no rules, because they can do whatever they want, they can have their own schedule. Those 90% of those go by the wayside, and the rest of the 10% stay. Hey, Omar, good to see you. Yeah, so I'm concerned. I'm concerned about the bond market. I'm concerned about the bond market. Okay, because ultimately, folks, the stocks will eventually succumb, especially interest rate stocks. They're going to succumb to the fact that rates are not going lower.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. Very, very important. Okay. So what I wanted to do today, so basically, folks, right now, I'm very, very cautious here. Also, if you look at VIX, which I haven't really looked at on a daily chart, you see how VIX is coming down? This is what I was hoping to see today. This is
Right.
good.
Yep.
That means fear has been alleviated. Okay. This is good. This is really, really good. Um, my, I also believe this. I believe the RSP is taking the bond market into account. I think this is taking the bond market into account, which is why, and valuations into account as well. Speaking of valuations, yeah, see, Applied Materials is only down a hair right now. That's what
Yeah.
I wanted to see. So, as far as I'm concerned, all that stuff we've been talking about, which is the two major concerns, the overvaluation, okay, that was one, overvaluation, and two, um,
Rate cuts. Yep.
rate cuts, that's priced into the market. Bonds are this morning coming into today, they were at 49%. So that it's done. It's priced into the market. Now the market's going, okay, what's next? And earnings are behind us, and earnings were twice as good as possible. So again, I'm not buying the big bear here. What will drive the market next is going to be the Fed data that comes out. I want to see Fed data. The market cannot survive on earnings alone. It needs Fed data. Okay. All right. People are happy about the Apple fill. Good. 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 Okay. Now, um, yesterday I got a lot of questions about the Pro Trader dashboard, so I want to answer them for you guys right now, real quick. So, the put it on here. Let me take this. Put it on here. Kevin says very happy on the Apple fill. Excellent. And then let me go ahead and take this. No, not this. This. I got too many screens, folks. Too many screens. Yeah, you know what? Um, 1 second, please. Okay. All right. So let's talk about stocks. So I can't have this on one screen, and I can only share one screen at a time, from at least what I understand. So I can't have the scanner and this up here. That wouldn't work so well. Um, I really like short Disney right now. I'll wait. I'll wait and see what happens. I'll wait and see what happens. But here are answers to a few questions. Okay, so let me show you. Let me just do this. Let me take away this for now, and let me put up this. So I could that way I could kind of kind of have it on at the same time. So let's take a look at a couple of stocks real quick, and maybe I could try to answer your question with actual examples. Okay. So RVMD, yeah, okay, this is a really good example. This is a perfect example. So I didn't have to go far. I went to the second stock. Okay. It's a strong stock right now. And right now, there's not that many stocks outperforming the market. The market's really strong. Actually, these are the only ones. Let me rescan this right now. Getting a lot more different stocks in here. Okay. So you see the stock is really strong on a daily time period and on an intraday time period. Okay? Really, 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 really strong. Okay. Let me ask you guys a question. Would you swing trade this stock or would you day trade this stock or both? Day trade, swing trade, both. All right. Kate says day trade. Jason says day trade. Jeffrey says swing trade. Somebody says both. Swing, both. It's actually a really good example. Okay. All right. All right. So, a couple of things to help you. Okay. Something that I've never really taught you guys before. First thing, is the stock a good amount out of this range? Number one. It is. So if you're going to day trade this, you want to wait for a pullback to the 8-day EMA, which we have in the Pro Trader dashboard. And I'll get to the Pro Trader well, I am at the Pro Trader dashboard, but I'm just showing you. This would be a day trading stock. If this stock was to come back down to the 67 level, which would put it back inside this range, that would be a good swing trading stock. But we're not there. We're above this range. So if you're going to take this trade for a swing trade, you want to take it on a pullback. If you want to take this trade on a breakout, okay? If you want to, and I haven't got to the options yet. If you want to take this trade on a breakout, like right now, that's a day trade. And if you're taking the stock for a day trade, then one of the things that helps, so let me tell you a few things that really help. This is a RVMD, right? RVMD. Okay. Bingo. What you want to see, write this down. What you want to see is you want to make sure the intraday, if you're taking a day trade, you want preferably one of the volumes here. This is relative strength. Obviously, it's green like there's no tomorrow. I mean, look at this thing. But volume, you want at least one of these highlighted. All right. And you obviously want this to be at least proportioned to where we are in the day. And this is leading a little bit. So we have 2 time frames. So we know money's coming into this market right now. What's the second thing we want? Okay, ATR. How much has this stock moved up today? $4.62. What's the typical ATR for this stock? It's $2.73. The stock has already moved up to almost 2 ATR, 1.8 ATR. Okay? How much more upside do you think the stock is going to have if heavy volume doesn't keep coming into this stock? Hardly any. Hence, we want to wait for a pullback. So my point is, if you see the ATR is over 2 or close to 2, that means the stock does not have a lot of room unless this starts coming up, which it's not. It's actually just flat. This is not coming up. And volume is not exuberant. When I say exuberant, like twice its average daily, where this is it's like, see how this is green? We want to also see this, and we want to see continuously green. Otherwise, you're going to run out of range. All right? Too late to the party, too fast, you guys are getting it 100%. Okay? I don't think ADX really helps on an intraday basis, Cyrus. I've never used it intraday, so I'm not going to comment, but I don't think I've never used ADX intraday. But hey, whatever floats your boat. Okay. Point here is you see how this stuff. So you see, look at when you're looking at stocks, and I'm going to tell you something. I break this rule all the time because I have because if there's a reason to break it, but if there's no reason to break it, don't break it. Okay. I don't want you to buy a stock that's right here where volume and relative strength is coming down. That's overextended to ATR. That's a sucker's bet. You can buy it on a pullback. And if you miss it, that's fine. And if it keeps going, blame it on me or Clyde. I don't care. Blame it on Matt. Everybody's blaming everything on Matt anyway. Just blame it on Matt. Matt, are you used to getting everything blamed on?
Yep.
Remember there was a commercial, Mikey here.
Yeah, Mikey, he doesn't like
Mikey.
anything. Yeah.
Really? Right. Um, yeah. And if there's a question that customer service doesn't answer and nobody else's answer, I have a perfectly good email address, and you guys shouldn't be afraid to use it. So what I wanted to tell you here was always, when you're looking at the ProTrader dashboard, always look at the ATR. And ATR is not an indicator I need to give you. It's the ATR is a simple indicator that's built into every platform. Just want to look at the ATR. Just always look at the ATR so you'll know what's going on. All right, let's look for some stuff. Oh, the other thing I wanted to talk about was this. Well, so we talked. Okay, so I answered the question of when you should take a swing trade, when you should take a day trade. And I explained to you the difference between overextended for a day trade versus swing trade and the pullback. I kind of answered 3 or 4 questions at the same time. So if you're still confused about that, rewatch this video because I gave you a really good example. And one of the things I did here was, notice I gave you a stock that's actually touching the 8-day today. So on one hand, it's very overextended. On another hand, it's completely not overextended. Okay, so it's like a little double whammy there. So like Disney, for example, let me show you Disney. See how Disney right now, and I'm looking to short Disney, but you see how on Disney volume is really good. It's at 88% of today's range, and we're only about 60% done on the day. But see how relative strength is coming up. That's a stock I would look at. So here, $3 range, and the stock has only moved $1.84, and we have high volume. So the stock has a lot more downside potential. Do you see that? There's a lot more downside potential. Hence, I have the stock right here on my list. And here's the profit targets and all that stuff. And here's the VWAP. It's all here for you. It's all here for you. I should put a little RSI what you call it, ATR. I should put a little ATR here as well. As a matter of fact, Matt, can you do something for us? How hard would it be to add another window to the ProTrader dashboard to put the 10-day the 10-day ATR, the 10-day ATR, irrelevant on what time frame I'm looking or what I'm doing. Just a little window here that would
You want the 10-day daily ATR?
Yeah, I want this. I want this right here. This right here. See that? This right here. The average true range daily right here. And I wanted to say 10-day ATR right here. We could do that, right?
Yeah.
All right. It shouldn't take you too long to do that, right?
Nope.
All right. Would you update it? Would you let Raleigh know and me know, and I'll send everybody a note? Right? It'd be nice to have it right here, right? Just to have a little 10-day ATR right here.
Yeah,
So
it would be great because it's an important part of your selection process, and you bring up the TC 2000 to go ahead and show that, and people are probably wondering, do I have to have that too?
No,
It's like,
we'll just put
no,
it. We'll
yeah,
add it to the ProTrader
yeah,
dashboard. I mean, it should take him, I don't know, 5 minutes. It should take him faster than I'm talking, less time than I'm talking right now to do this, but he should be able to add it right here. Yeah, I'll have to let Cam know. If I don't let Cam
yeah.
know,
We'll let the whole team know.
we'll let everybody know. We're not there
Yeah,
yet.
exactly.
But see how now Disney's coming in down. See, I'm already giving you stocks. Told you Disney was a matter of fact. As a matter of fact, oh, I thought I posted it here. I guess I didn't. I guess I didn't post it. Thought I did, but I guess I didn't. Okay. Anyway, I like Disney to the short side. And you could see it still has a good move because you gotta say to yourself, if it's breaking down like this and it has volume behind it, and if the average ATR is $3.10 and it's only moved $1.80, 1.87, it's got some more downside to it. You might have just added it yourself, Richard. Not sure. I posted it in the free channel. I did post it. Okay, I posted it in the free channel by accident, Jill. You got to watch me like a hawk, Jill. See that? Add Disney to your short list about 30 minutes ago. Yeah. Yeah, actually, I like it as a swing. It looks good as a day trade and a swing. I like it. I've liked it for the last 30 minutes. Okay, and then let me review again swing trades for the afternoon, okay? Let's talk a little bit about that. So if I'm looking for a swing trade, volume is going to become a lot less important to me. Volume is not going to be that important. And I'll explain to you why. Institutional accumulation. I'm giving you guys so much value. I can't even believe I'm telling you all this. Institutional accumulation doesn't work in a linear fashion. They don't just say, okay, we're going to buy for the next 5 months and then we're going to stop. They don't do that. They do it in cycles. They go into a stock, they wait for price to go to a certain level, and then they do it again. It's basically like this. So just because institutional volume is coming into a stock right now, like it is to Disney, to the short side, right here, it doesn't mean that tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon you're going to see higher than normal volume. And a swing trade implies more than one day, right? It's holding overnight. So my point in explaining this to you is that you can't rely on volume right now to give you tailwind tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon. Now, I know for me, this is pretty self-explanatory, and I know some of you are like, oh, I didn't think about that, but it's pretty, this is pretty common sense. So what my point is, relative strength you can rely on, like this relative strength, this daily relative strength or weakness, depending on what you're looking at. This takes 10 days into account, 2 weeks into account. This takes 10 hours into account, 10 hours. So the relative strength is you need that for day trading, which is why we look at the daily chart, right? That's our relative strength. But even if we're day trading, because we don't know what's going to happen. But if you're or swing trading, but if you're swing trading, the relative volume just doesn't mean very much. The fact that Disney is down it has 90% of its daily volume right now, doesn't really mean that 2 days from now it's going to have higher volume. So the bad news is you can't take volume with you. The good news is you don't have to look at it very much if you're planning on swing trading. Matter of fact, when I'm swing trading, I don't even look at this. Okay? I don't even look at this. I really don't even look at this because it doesn't make any difference. Because how the hell do I know if volume tomorrow or the next day or 3 days from now is going to be high? I want to make sure, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make sure that people understand that, because again, if you're day trading, this is invaluable, because we got to know if the tailwind is in our back right now, especially if a stock already moved $15. Okay, all right. Just want to make sure you guys understand it. Now, another thing for swing trades, I typically do swing trades towards the end of the day. Okay. Why do you think I do swing trades towards the end of the day? Why do you guys think that? Tell me. Overnight move. No, but that's fine. But that doesn't really answer my question, Ken, because if it's a swing trade, whether I do it at 10 in the morning or 3:30 in the afternoon, it's going to be an overnight move. But why do I specifically do it towards the end of the day? Okay, Matt says because you have a sense of what the market's doing. Okay. You get to see the activity of the stock. Same thing. I get to see what the market is more stable. I don't know about being more stable. Night moves might have a better idea on momentum. I think you mean when you say night moves, I think you mean like towards the end of the day, towards the end of the. I don't know. I don't really consider 4 o'clock night, but I think you mean the afternoon session. I think that's full data helps. Okay, okay. So I think the predominant theme is Roger waits for the afternoon move because he wants to collect more information. No, it has nothing to do with a better price. So I want to make sure you understand why, because a lot of you guys are not giving me the right reason. Market is closed for regular trading. Not overnight, Cyrus. The question is, why do I put on a swing trade at 3:30 in the afternoon versus at 10:30 in the morning? That's really what we're answering right now. Price action confirmation, maybe. You have the latest information. Institutions buy at the end of the day. Very interesting. Very interesting. So what I'm getting from, say, 70% of you, and I really like doing, I like having interaction with you guys. Okay. I hope that's okay with you. I, we collect, from what I'm gathering from more time, is there's more and more information as the day progresses. And you guys would all be right. No, I don't want to buy near the top. No, no. Although, Bob, that's a very, very good question. I understand what Bob is saying. So let me explain to you. There are two reasons why. I'll get into how we pick stocks using ProTrader Dashboard for swing trades, but I want to explain to you why. Because again, I'm one of those guys where if you don't explain to me why, I'm not going to listen to anybody just because they said something. I want to know why, so I can understand it. Once I understand it, then I'm pig-headed. So I'm going to explain to you why. Okay. Okay. Number one, most activity during the first hour of the day is retail. Institutions start incorporating trades after the first hour typically. They want to find a trend in the market. Okay. And I want to know what institutions are doing. The closer we get towards the end of the day, the more accurately I will know what was intended to be meant by the market's action that day. Okay. Also, and that's the point that Bob made, and that was a great point, by the way, Bob. The way you said it, but you made a very good point. The point what Bob was making was, we're using daily bar charts or HA charts. We're using daily charts. You're not going to know how that bar is going to close till the end of the day. So if you're trading in the morning, you're really making your decision based on yesterday's price. And I don't like to do that. Thank you, Bob. That was very, yeah, that's so the more you get towards the end of the day, the more we will see what the market really had in store for itself that day. Okay? Anything before that is pure gambling. Not pure gambling, but you're not taking as, in terms of trying to figure out what the market's going to do at the end of the day, you're gambling midday, but you're not gambling on the trade, you're gambling on not knowing how the market's going to close. And if that is part of your strategy, you're taking a big gamble. So I hope that makes sense, right? Does that make sense, Raleigh? It makes sense to you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what you're doing is I think most people see where you're coming from. It was interesting to see the way they phrased it, but at the end of the day, once again, Roger, you're looking to basically mimic. You want to follow what the institutions are doing, and you
Yes.
won't have that information until you get later on late in the day.
Yeah, and this is a little controversial, so I'm not going to debate it here, but there is a lot of argument to be made to the fact that the closing price of the day is the most relevant price of the day. There's a lot of talk, and again, we could probably sit here and we can speculate for the next, and it really won't make any difference to it's not going to improve our trading. Ken, we'll see you later. Great class, a great discussion we're having. And good luck, and have a great weekend. Get some rest. I don't know where Ken finds the energy for all of this, but anyways, so I really believe and there's a lot of you can make a good argument that the end of the day, the last print of the day, is the most accurate print of the day. Now, you can argue and say, well, wherever the most price traded that day is the most accurate price of the day. Yeah, you could say that too. That may be so. That's why I'm saying this is very debatable, and it's kind of like what's the best football team? We can argue about it forever. And the odds are we'll both get the top 2 or 3, but you're never going to get the top 1. And it's the same thing here. We're never really going to answer that question. But I could tell you one thing for sure. The opening price of the day means absolutely nothing to me. I mean, to me, the opening price is like it doesn't mean anything to me, anything at all. Especially if there's a big overnight gap. Because I know that traders love to overreact in the mornings. They love to overreact in the morning, and it's something that FOMO Joes are only going to do a lot more once they reduce the day trading requirements to from $25,000, because we're going to get a lot more liquidity in the market when that happens, and you're going to get a lot of FOMO Joes. And you know where we take our money from? FOMO Joes.
FOMO Joes.
So I wanted you to understand the dynamics of swing trading and the only reason why I look at the Pro Trader dashboard in the afternoon. So for swing trading using the Pro Trader dashboard, which is invaluable to me, okay, invaluable to me. There's not one trade that I put on that I don't use the Pro Trader dashboard. I'm talking about stocks, not indexes, or stock options.
Stocks options. And the other thing, Roger, it dawns on me once again as I'm becoming more and more familiar with the Pro Trader dashboard, thinking about later on in the day. So let me just make an observation to you. You're scanning for the stocks that are the best for the most underperforming. If you're looking at that at 2:30 or 3 o'clock or 3:30 in the afternoon, you're getting a pretty good snapshot as to which one of those tickers is outperforming the SPY, which to me would be important. And then the relative strength on that at the end of the day would also be a pretty good tip-off. Am I on the right track there, Roger?
Absolutely. Much better indication than the opening print. Much better indication. Notice I never liquidate my losers in the morning. I always wait till like the end of the day because I want to see how they're going to shake out. Because you know what happens 50% of the time? A stock drops in the morning like a rabid dog. And then by the afternoon it comes, you're like, oh, it's right where it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Does that did I just describe anything in recent memory to you guys? Let's see. We drop like a rock and then we go straight up. You have no idea how. Apple. Yeah, I was going to say Apple. It didn't really drop like a rock. It was only down about $1.50, and then it just came right back up. And it's up right now. So my point is, the morning print means very, very little to me. You've got a lot of emotions. You got the overnight markets that has to digest. There's a lot of stuff there. So it's not because the Pro Trader dashboard's not active. It's just I don't trust swing trades till the end of the day. So here's the Pro Trader dashboard. Here are 2 dashboards. Or actually, here's how I like it. Here's the daily chart. This is how I have it set up. I have the 5-minute chart. I have the daily chart right here. And then I have my shorts and I have my longs. And I have these on a separate window from this. I have plenty of windows. I have plenty of real estate. So what I do in the afternoon is I switch to hourly. What I prefer to see is this. I prefer to see the hourly and the 5-minute align. Now, it doesn't mean the 5-minute has to be the strongest and hourly has to be the weak, but I'd like to see them both doing well. Okay. Now, in this case, if we switch to hourly, right now, CVX, SG, ALL, BIIB, PSX, Merck, Dino. I day traded this stock earlier today, Dino. VLO, a lot of these energy stocks are doing really, really well right now. RVMD, OKE, SLB, these are energy stocks. VLO, Oxy, they're all related to energy stocks. This is a small cap I gave you this morning. I told you that it's a nice looking stock. Anyhow, garbage stock right here, healthcare stocks. These are all defensive stocks. These are not speculative stocks. These are defensive stocks. Defensive stocks. So we could see exactly what institutions are accumulating on a swing trade basis right now. This is on an hourly basis. On a 5-minute basis, they're buying. They got a little KR in here, a little Moss, SQM, basic materials, Intuit, insurance, Whirlpool, ABT, Chevron, Oracle. So you got a little mixed bag of nuts here. And there's hardly any stocks that are outperforming the market. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 stocks that are outperforming the market right now. So the market is not technically all that strong. The market's only up 0.39 right now. And here's all the stocks. So what I do at 4 o'clock, so let me show you what I do. At 4 o'clock, or 3:30, when I start seeing that the stock, where I have a really good idea of what that stock is going to do that day, I switch right here or here, and I start looking for options that have 3 to 4 weeks to go. 3 to 4 weeks to go. Okay. And a delta of 0.70. So to just show you a real simple example, let's say right here, let's say we were looking to go long Apple, which actually looks great for a swing trade right now. You know, I never give you a day trade unless it's a good swing trade. I've heard someone say that before. I'd go about 28 days out if this was one of my top stocks. And I would go right here, 270 call. Let's say I don't have a huge account. Let's say I have a small account. Okay, I got you covered. You'd buy the 275. You'd sell the 280. This is 500. You do this for $250, and your profit potential is 500 per contract. Not bad, right? Not bad. Actually, pretty good. Not bad at all. So really, really, really good. Nice and easy and simple. Really, really nice, easy, and simple. Okay. So now let me give you some stocks that I'm liking right now. VLO is a good, not for a swing, a little overextended. Let me erase this here. A little overextended. KR. Momentum is shifting towards the downside. PBF, energy stock. That doesn't look bad. That doesn't look bad. PBF doesn't look bad. TRGP. No. PBF does not look bad. Dino looks good. I know that because I traded it this morning, but it's a little overextended right now. Yeah, it's a little overextended. Dino. No. MPC. Oh, that looks good. MPC looks good. But notice, these are all energy stocks. These are all energy stocks. So only one to a customer. No. Devon Energy. That looks good. Again, energy stocks. Healthcare. That looks great. MCK. That looks really good for a swing right here. Some people may say this is a beginning of a stock that looks like an A-line. It's pretty strong too. MCK looks good.
There's MCK. Yep.
Yeah, I don't want to go much lower. No, that doesn't look good. Whirlpool doesn't look good. No, I think that's it. I think we got two. Which ones were they? They were PBF. PBF, that's an energy stock. And
Yeah, Dino, MPC, DVN.
And then, no, what was the other one that I really liked? It was
Merck, MCK.
No. It was another one. VLO. Yeah, VLO I like. MCK.
Yep.
MCK. This one, MCK. Yeah, MCK. I like that. I like this stock right now. It's a nice, not a bad looking stock. Okay, so I did give you some goodies. Now, I just spent about 40, wow, where does the time go, Raleigh? I spent about 45 minutes explaining to you guys the basics and how to use the Pro Trader dashboard for Culpy says started the day with 3945 and now at 4544. What are you using to trade? Mr. and Mrs. Culpy. Okay, let me just put this to the side. Put this here. I'm going to give you guys a class. If you guys are really serious about your trading, and if you're serious about the Pro Trader dashboard, which I've been just going over with you. Hey, Matt, can you hook me up before I start?
Yeah, let me post the YouTube link first.
Okay. I highly recommend you pay attention to this class. It's going to be a great class. I think you're going to really enjoy it. And I think you really, if you're really serious about your trading, pay attention to this. Now, everything we're gonna be showing you today is not typical. I'm not typical. What I do is not typical. What you do is not typical. If you're here, you're not typical.